Hello, welcome back. Big Nick Burke with the Big Nick Energy. Feeling good as a Knicks fan because our Knicks are not in the playoffs and there's no embarrassment to be had for New York sports teams any longer. We can just coast through it. I think the Rangers had a big win. Congratulations to them. I don't watch hockey, so if you do, I hope you're having fun with all that stuff. I know baseball started up, WNBA has started up, so there's a lot of good stuff to watch if you are looking for that New York sports fix without the Knicks. So for me, though, I've just been watching all these playoff games and trying to really just take it in. You know, it seems like it's a turning point, you know, the end of an era type of thing with KD's not in it, LeBron's not in it. Shoot, we thought the Warriors weren't going to be in it, you know, just a month ago. So that being said, let's get to the notes. The predictions from last round, I did pretty good, honestly. I thought I was going to do a little better, but Luka Doncic said no, and John Morant said no. So my predictions, if you want to recap from last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I had Miami over Philly in 6. Got that one right. Excellent. I had Celtics over the Bucks in 7. I got that one right. Excellent. But then I kind of messed up on the West Coast. I had the Suns over Mavs in 5. Incorrect. The Mavs took them. Took them all the way to 7 games and won. Wow. Amazing. We'll get to that, though. And I had Warriors over Grizzlies in 4. And I knew the Warriors were going to win, but I thought they were going to sweep them. So not the case. They stole 2 wins, and still a pretty fun series. Funner than I thought it was going to be, or should I say more fun than I thought it was going to be. But let's start with that. Oh my gosh, the Miami over Philly game. So this round 2, I thought the first round was more of who's more persistent, right? Who can score more? Who can execute their offense? Who could get it? You know, get the buckets when they have to get the buckets. That was the first round. The second round, holy cow, this was all about adaptability. By now, they were game planning hard from game to game and now from series to series. So we saw what a lot of the other teams were doing, and obviously the coaches saw what the other teams were doing. So they came into the round 2, and they were playing pretty interesting sets, specifically on defense. And Philadelphia kind of got the bad end of it. They could not figure out how to stop a 3-2 zone with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler at the top of the key. They kept trying to do these little... They were almost going into like a pseudo triangle offense between Harden, Maxey, and Embiid, leaving their 2 other guys either in the corners or to backdoor cut. And this was working really well for them when Embiid could get to the foul line and when Harden and Maxey were hitting shots. Now, the moment Maxey and Harden weren't hitting shots, weren't driving, were getting bottled up, Embiid had to kind of do more, and he couldn't do more because he's not a dribbler, he's not a passer. He's a skilled player, but he's not a point guard. He's not that type of player. He's not Jokic, right? So clearly, jab. So anyways, they had Embiid trying to get to the foul line, and Maxey and Harden kind of running this little triangle offense around him, which works really well against mediocre defenders, shorter defenders, and, you know, when people aren't getting doubled. But Miami was doubling Embiid, doubling Harden, not really letting Maxey do what he wants, but just putting single coverage on Maxey and concerning themselves with the main ball handlers, the main scorers. And it worked. Doc had no clue what to do with their zone. The moment they started switching, they started doing little picks with Harden and Maxey and Embiid trying to get mismatches, is when Spoelstra's like, yeah, no, don't follow them. If they're above the 3-point line doing that, don't follow them. Just sit back in a zone, let them come to you. Butler and Adebayo pushed up to the 3-point line above the foul line, and Embiid doesn't want to be out there. I know he acts like he can shoot, but he can't. He don't want to be up there. Neither does Giannis. So when he gets pushed up to the top of the key to the 3-point line, he's not as much of a threat. All he can do is dribble or pass. He can't shoot from there. He's not going to pull up. And the moment he puts the ball on the ground, he's getting doubled, and they're getting steals from it. So I really put this failing on Doc Rivers. I know a lot of people do as well, because he just kept forcing these Embiid plays at the top of the key. And it's like, Embiid is not your point guard. Give it to your point guard. Let's run some actual plays. But you can't do that when you have a superstar center and you got to give him the ball every time down the court. And you have a superstar point guard. You got to give him the ball every time down the court. And that's why they say coaching is more about managing personalities than it is about actual X's and O's on offense. And that's the truth. And we'll talk about more about that when we get to the Suns, because my goodness, a lot is going on there. So once Miami stifled Embiid, and this is a big up to the Miami defense, not just Butler and Adebayo, but also Tucker, and even Hero was kind of all right as a helper, as someone who would come over and kind of poke the ball away. So they're locked in. They're doing really well, and they're executing, and they took Philadelphia, which I think was a coach's failing. I don't think it was a personnel failing. It was a coach's failing. And you can almost say that about last year as well for Philadelphia. So moving on. The Celtics and the Bucks was a great series. Holy cow, that Game 6. Tatum and Giannis Game 6, buddy. I don't remember the last time I had such fun watching another team that weren't the Knicks. And that performance from Tatum, it's like every time the Bucks were about to get close, Tatum's like, another three. And it was impressive, all right? That's like that Steph Curry, like, wow, he's really just going to keep hitting. And he did. And it was a 44 point, I think, and Giannis had 40, like, really fun game. Wow. But once I saw that, I was like, if he comes out Game 7 playing that same way, it's over. They have no answer for him. Connaughton and Allen are both playing defense because they don't want to get taken off the dribble by him, because he can take him off the dribble too. But they also, if they want to even alter his shot, they have to get right up in his face and put their hands up, which they're not willing to do because he'll just go around them and take him off the dribble. So they're playing kind of like, not fully committed defense because they're not trusting the rotation behind them. But yeah, they couldn't do it. They needed Chris Middleton's height and tenacity on the defensive end to even be close to stopping them, and they just couldn't do it. Or they needed Tatum and Brown to at least shut themselves down and start missing shots, which they just didn't do. So really, really fun win, really fun series. The Bucks as defending champs, I think, can rest easy. I know a lot of people are giving critique to Budenholzer over various things, but I didn't think this was a coach's failing. I thought this was a personnel failing where they needed Chris Middleton, and without him, it's like, yeah, no, they're not going to do it. He's one of their taller defenders. He's one of their better three-point shooters. He's one of their better ball handlers, passers, all-around good player. And without him, it's like you have a glaring hole. And Allen and Connaughton and whoever else they were playing picked up some of the slack, but obviously not as up to that level. I thought Holiday was really impressive, and Giannis was really impressive, obviously. But they needed one more guy to help stop up Tatum and Brown, which they just couldn't do. Because we all know Jason Tatum hitting threes is way better than Giannis hitting twos, right? 3 is greater than 2, and no one knows that better than the Golden State Warriors, who I believed was going to sweep them, the Grizzlies, no problems. But John Morant, Desmond Bane, not Dylan Brooks so much, but I guess for defensive tenacity, we can count Brooks in there. Really fun series. I thought it was going to be a sweep, so they really surprised me because in my mind, John Morant, he's a 2-point getting machine, but 3 is greater than 2, so it doesn't matter. If every time you're getting 2 and every time they're getting 3, obviously the 3-pointers are going to win. So I'm not, I was surprised that they even took some wins off of them, and that's mostly because John Morant is just that guy. He's able to get the bucket, no problem. And honestly, the Grizzlies on a whole played pretty good defense against a very, very sound offensive team. So if you're a Grizzlies fan, you got to be pretty happy with your team, pretty impressed with how they matched up against them. And the only thing that's really lacking is that John Morant got injured. So had John Morant not gotten injured, honestly, could have went to 7, could have won it. Really could have stole it, I thought. And now I know a lot of people are focusing on the drama and all the nonsense, going on with various parties, with the Grizz and with Golden State, whatever. But they're just getting chippy, talking yada yada yada. But they're talking about this is not a basketball play. This is a basketball play. He broke the code. He didn't break the code. Whatever, man. I'm not here for any of that. I don't really care. That's between the players and the coaches. They would know better than me. So I'm not going to voice anything on the drama. And I think, honestly, the drama kind of took away from what was a very entertaining basketball series between two pretty good teams. One maybe on their way out and one kind of on their way up. So that's exciting, as for the basketball, the league as a whole. John Morant as a player. Jenkins as a coach, I guess. I'm not really impressed with him. But, I think he did what he could have done with the players he has. I think they need to get some three-point shooters to kind of help out and spread the court. But otherwise, I thought really, really fun series. And they surprised a lot of people around the league, including me, because I thought they were going to get swept, shook, because of poor three-point defense and poor three-point shooting. But they did it. Desmond Bane, shout out to Desmond Bane. Shout out to, who else was on that team other than John Morant? I can't even remember. They had Dylan Brooks and a couple other people. I can't remember it. It was Jackson. I can't remember if Jackson's on their team or the Celtics. Yikes. Whatever. Who cares? And they're not on the Knicks, so I don't even I can't remember everybody that's not on the Knicks. Shoot. So anyways, here we go. This is the one everyone's talking about today. Mavs and Suns. Holy cow. What did I think? I thought the Suns over the Mavs in 5. And if you look around the league, literally everybody's saying the same thing. Suns in 6, Suns in 4, Suns in 5, Suns in 7, whatever. Suns are winning, right? Number 1 in the league this year, 60-something wins. Going in as the number 1 seed. They were just in the finals last year. The coach gets coach of the year. They have a big 3, as they say, and Stephen A. says that, and they just, they just dropped off a cliff. A cliff. I couldn't believe it. What a shocker. So what was my reasoning behind the Suns winning? All those things I said. They got to the finals. They got coach of the year. Ayton, Booker, Paul. Come on. Good little lineup, right? On paper. In contrast, Jason Kidd, first year as a head coach there, has a kind of tumultuous track record with other teams as a head coach. And I just didn't think their offense was real good for the playoffs because it's real predictable, right? You're going to Luka. He's going to dribble. He's going to step back. He's going to shoot. Possibly make a nice pass, right? You can mostly just play a zone against them and be okay, which I was surprised we didn't see more of, even though they did try. They did try, but you can't have Chris Paul play a zone. He's too you got to hide him somewhere. He's too much of a liability. Patrick Beverley was calling him a cone, and Stephen A. wouldn't accept it. And it's like, you couldn't watch the series and say Chris Paul plays good defense. He plays okay defense, but it's not going to stop Luka. It's not going to stop pretty much anybody out there. So I don't even think Chris Paul could stop me, to be perfectly honest. Wait, pause. Yo, I had to look it up because I was really curious. All right, Chris Paul is 6 foot. I'm 6'4". I could post him up one-on-one all day. And that's like, no cap. No. That's such a lie. Honestly, he would pick my pocket. Every time I would put the ball on the floor, he would just tap it away. It wouldn't even be fun for me. But if I get an entry pass and I only have to dribble like twice, I would be able to post him up. All right, so I'll take that as what it is. But he'll probably do some slick stuff like pull the chair on me and just make me look foolish. So I can talk all high over here, but we know the truth, right? I'm just some guy on a couch. But in my fantasy, right, Chris Paul is just not that guy. I thought too, really broke my heart watching him run last night. Like, his knees got to be killing him. Because he just was not in full stride. He was taking these little half shuffle steps. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a man whose knees are killing him. Yikes. And he wasn't hitting shots, wasn't making passes. They weren't doing anything. So when I say adaptability is what made the second round, it's because same issue with Philadelphia. The Suns not adapting to the defense, the defensive pressure. So aside from this Ayton drama, I was going to say what happened. Aside from this Ayton drama, which is coming out after the fact, I don't know if it holds water. I don't really care. I know he didn't do a presser. I know he was fighting with the coach on the bench and got 17 minutes. Yeah. They asked him if he wanted to play. He said no. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Clearly he's pissed. I thought they weren't really, when he was playing, I thought they kind of snubbed him. And I think they could have used him more, pick and rolls and just entry passes, let him work by himself and then kick out if he gets doubled. I really thought he should have got... It's funny because I think Doc went too hard playing through Embiid, and I think Monty should have went harder to go through Ayton. So I think they actually had a reverse problem where Embiid was kind of getting exploited and Ayton wasn't getting used enough. So we'll find out more about that as the season goes, as the off season goes on, and they may make a trade and who knows what else. But they could not, the Suns as a whole could not adapt to a zone or good defenders pushing them out and not letting them penetrate. Chris Paul could not penetrate. Devin Booker could not penetrate. And without them driving and kicking, there's no offense for the Suns. There was no offense. They ran some really fun around the horn type, off-ball picks for Chris Paul to get him a little mid-range jumper, and he misses it, And those things are going to happen, but the issue is you don't get back on defense. The issue is you give up, easy buckets. You give up bad fouls, and then you don't execute on offense. And then next thing you know, you've only scored 27 points for a whole half. Insane. Absolutely insane, that Game 7. But in my notes here, I'm looking at by Game 5, I thought Chris Paul was looking out of sorts. I thought they took him out of his game. He only had 7 points in Game 5, even though he had 10 assists. I don't think that mattered because a key part of the Suns doing well is Chris Paul scoring at least 15 points. Devin Booker scoring at least 20-something points, and Ayton scoring 20-something points. You needed all three of those things for the Suns to work, and Chris Paul in Game 5, even though they won, only getting 7 points, 10 assists, was not going to be sustainable. And then we saw in Game 6 and Game 7, when the three-point shots aren't falling, they're just not doing it. They unraveled. The Mavericks were able to put their defense in the middle, stop the driving, say, yeah, shoot threes, try. And they just did not try. Not even that they were missing them, they just weren't really shooting them. It was kind of awkward. No one wanted to shoot. No one wanted to play. Yeah. So I don't know if it's the coaches not adapting or the players not trusting each other or personnel issues off the court like we saw with Ayton, but something broke with the Suns. Something broke. And now we got the summer, it's the off season. They're going to make some crazy moves trying to fix it. I almost guarantee that. So the Suns fans got hit with that whiplash. They thought this was going to be another finals run, and they're salivating for a championship to come out in a Game 7, elimination round 2, and score 27 points in the first half. Insane. I couldn't tell what I was watching, especially after that really fun Boston Bucks series, that really fun Grizzly Warrior series, that not as fun but still satisfying Miami Philadelphia series, to a Game 7 Suns just not showing up in any capacity. They all look shocked, shook, could not score, could not defend. I don't know how Monty gets Coach of the Year and does that. But I don't know. So like I said, I don't know if it's a coach thing, a player thing, or what. But they were not trusting each other to make the passes. They were not trusting themselves to make the shots. They saw that zone, and they got froze, shook up, same as Philadelphia. And that's the difference between a championship-level team and a playoff-level team, is adaptability to what's in front of you. So now, speaking of adapting in the playoffs, the New York Knicks, as we know, last year had a historic, well, not historic, but pretty bad choke job, right? Pretty bad. They won one game. Bad first-round exit, but on a low expectation team. Whereas the Suns are doing this with a very high expectation. Now, if they had low expectations, this would be a little bit easier to stomach. But being in the position they're in, it's like you really should have came out, done something a little bit more. And I think that's the biggest thing between comparing Tom Thibodeau's Coach of the Year run versus Monty Williams' Coach of the Year run. where Thibodeau had low expectations and took a projected 35-win team to the 4th seed in the playoff, even though he lost first round. We didn't even expect to be in the playoffs, so that was big. Whereas Monty Williams takes a 60-win team to the playoffs, expecting to go to at least a conference finals, at least, and doesn't even get there. So I think that expectation is kind of tarnishing Monty Williams' Coach of the Year run and how it will be remembered historically because of this historically bad Game 7. Unbelievable. So I pose the question to myself, and I guess to you all too. How would you feel? Would your perceptions change if they lost a close Game 7? If the Suns lost a close Game 7, how would we perceive them, Monty Williams, in the future? And I think that's honestly everything. It's just how they came out, how they were executing, and they just never really got back. It's like we've seen other teams go down, and they can at least mount some sort of comeback, lose by 10, okay. But it's like after that first quarter, literally the first quarter, it was over. It was over for the Suns. They were like, yep, no, we're not playing. We're not executing. We're not getting it done. So I don't know if that's, like I said, coaching or personnel or what. But however you want to look at it, it doesn't look good for them. And you can find any number of talking heads to say the same. I'm not going to beat on a dead horse too much. What I've said here is just my shock that it was so bad. Like, the Knicks have been bad for a long time and have dropped games like that, but always with, I think, low expectation where it's like, all right, like, we weren't even supposed to be here to begin with. You know, we're always the Knicks. Whereas the Suns, it's like you just tasted the finals. You were 2 wins away from a championship. Like, now you didn't even get out the second round because your team just didn't show up in the Game 7. It's like you won 2, you lost 1, you won 1, and then you lost 3 more. It's not good. Not good. Not great. Like I said, they're hit with that whiplash right now. They're hit with that whiplash, like how we were with Julius Randle this year. Oh, buddy. So, and that's not even like an apt comparison, honestly. Like, not even apt comparison. This was tragic. Like, I turned the game on. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then after 1 or 2 quarters, it's like, oh man, this. I kept the game on. I watched the whole thing just because it was a slaughter, and I really wanted to see if they could come back or what they would do, and they just never did it. So, anyways, we'll see what the offseason brings us with the Suns. As for round 3, the conference finals, I'm excited, all right? I am excited for the conference finals. I know a lot of people are not excited because it's going to be Miami and Boston in the East, which, as a Knicks fan, you know, you got to hate both of them. Got to hate them both. And for the West Coast, I mean, the Warriors, they've been there so often. I think they just get hate because of how consistently good they've been. And then the underdogs, the Mavs, who I don't know if anybody's rooting against at this point. I can't imagine somebody will. But my predictions are Warriors over the Mavs in 6 and the Miami Heat over the Celtics in 7 games. Those are my predictions. Don't take them to the bank. I was 50% on the last series, so you know, we'll see how it turns out. But I really think the Warriors are going to just wipe the floor with the Mavericks because of, same as always, 3-point shooting and 3-point defense. Luka is a astonishing scorer, but he's only one guy. And we'll see, though. Hey, we'll see. Maybe they step up as a team and they can bring it home and get themselves to the championship. That would be the story, right? That's the story everybody wants to hear. It's just not likely, right? Especially Steph is playing, Draymond's playing, Clay is playing. They're likely going to win, right? I got them in 6 games because I'm trying to give the Mavericks a benefit of the doubt, but they could just as easily get swept, honestly. But I made a mistake last round saying they're going to sweep the Grizzlies, so I'm going to give the Mavs the benefit of the doubt and say Warriors in 6. Now, as for Miami and Celtics, man, I was really, really, really debating this because in one hand, you have 2 scoring machines in Tatum and Brown. Just real cool, calm, collected, score, especially from what we saw. Tatum is not shying away from any of these big shots. He's hitting them. And it's not even like they're bouncing around and going in. He's hitting dead on target every shot. and Brown for that matter, they've been in the gym. You can tell. They've been practicing a lot. You can tell. So you take those two guys, and honestly, Al Horford's not been playing bad. He's smart. He seems to be able to keep up with the game, at least for the most part. I thought, conditioning would be a problem as he ages, but he's always been like a kind of cerebral player where he knows where to be when the ball comes out to tip it out and be, in the right place on defense to get these kind of unassuming blocks that you wouldn't expect him to get, that he's just, kind of finesses his way into. So between those three, obviously the play of Marcus Smart, on the defensive end at least. But a big glaring hole I saw against Milwaukee was that Smart cannot be trusted with the ball. So if the Miami Heat are playing as good of a defense as they were, I expect Smart to have a lot more frustration and a lot more pressure to do the right thing. And I think that's going to get to him, or he's going to hide in the corner. Tatum's going to bring the ball up. Tatum's going to handle the game. And Marcus Smart will be relegated to a catch-and-shoot three in the corner every, 4 possessions. That's my prediction there because of the Miami defense. That being said, can Horford post up Bam? I think he's got enough body. I think he's got enough skill. The issue is Miami's defense has been very good on double teams. I was talking about Chris Paul's knees. Chris Paul could not double team Luka and get back to the paint fast enough to stop those open guys, that swing. Whereas Miami is the exact opposite. They've been doubling for the whole series, it seemed, in Philadelphia, and are very capable to get back to the paint, to get back to their guy, to rotate the correct way. And they all have a lot of length, strength, and speed where they don't have to worry so much about, oh no, if this guy gets switched on, he's going to be sitting duck. Where he's not. Bam, Butler, all those bigger guys who are going to get switches, they're not a liability. So that's why I go with Miami, I think, just because of their versatility on defense. Their versatility on defense and their ability to execute mid-range. And the big thing is going to be three-pointers from Hero. Does Duncan Robinson even play anymore? Whatever. So the big thing is going to be consistency for the mid-range from Jimmy Butler and consistency from Tatum and Brown. But I still think Miami, just because their defense, I think, is a bit better. And that's it, man. That's all I got. I know this is a little bit long for a round 2 recap, but we had a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of underlying things. It's more than just the X's and O's. It's personnel management. It's team building. Because now, I'd love to be a fly on the wall now to the teams that are going on to see what these guys do. What do they do? Hang out, play video games together, go out to a restaurant, maybe catch another game. I don't know. But that's what's so pivotal right now in the season, is that these guys are bonding, these guys are trusting, and these guys are locked in, as they say. And that's going to be exciting, for this conference final. I believe it starts tomorrow, so no breaks over here. No breaks over here in the NBA. Let me just find out for you, because I am fairly certain. I don't have it pulled up. Hold on. Yes, indeed. This is starting, Wednesday. Excuse me, I'm a couple days ahead of myself. Today is Monday, the 16th. We will be starting the first game. Oh, no, they're already saying game 2. Oh, my Google is messed up. It's only showing me game 2 for Heat Celtic. Hold on. Yes, excuse me. I don't know why Google was skipping game 1 for the Boston-Miami series and going right to game 2. I have no idea why. But game 1, Boston versus Miami, Tuesday, May 17th, 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN, followed by Wednesday game for that other series. Whatever, man. We got games coming up. Tuesday, game 1, Boston versus Miami. That will really set the tone. I know it's going to be a feeler game to see who's gonna do what the scheme's going to be. and that's going to be exciting. And I don't expect Jason Kidd to. This is the other series. I don't expect Jason Kidd to be able to keep up with the Warriors, but I thought the same thing about the Suns. So maybe an upset again for the Mavericks. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you listening to this whole video. Let me know what you think. Monty Williams Coach of the Year or Thibodeau Coach of the Year? Who had the better series? Who had the better story? I know when Tibbs got it, they were saying Monty should have got it, and maybe they were right that he should have got it. But I just think Tibbs had a better story where he took a 30-win team to a fourth seed in the playoff, even though he got bumped in the first round. Whereas Monty Williams is like, yeah, you're supposed to be getting to the finals. That is what you're supposed to be doing with these players. So talk about it. Let's do it. Miami and Boston. I'm taking Miami, and Warriors over Mavs. I'm taking Warriors. Let's do it. Thank you so much. Big Nick Burt, Big Nick Energy. See you next time.
Burt knows basketball, y'all.